Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Another weekly edition of the show, live on YouTube, podcast form, and all podcast distributors, live on Twitch, and all the fun stuff to find us. Should be a jam-packed show today. A lot of fights to talk about this weekend, and a lot of fights were announced on the Showtime schedule. So, without further ado, let me get to my co-host, the one and only Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you, man?
I'm Gucci, baby. I'm Gucci. I'm good, man. I knew some of those fights were coming up. It's just, we basically, I don't know.
I wasn't ready for that. I apologize. Anyways, continue, Gary.
I'm good. Texas boxing is alive and well. Oh, I got an announcement to make, a little housekeeping thing. I started a new YouTube channel, not to compete with this. It's completely dedicated.
No.
It's completely dedicated to Texas boxing. It's called Texas Boxing Scene. It's I got about 80 interviews up there with Texas fighters, everyone from Virgil to Mario to Omar, and it's completely dedicated to nothing but Texas boxing. It's update interviews. I'll do news. I'll do breakdowns from one of Texas fighter fights. It's Texas Boxing Scene. Everything, if we can monetize it, and I might start a page, everything is going to go straight to TACA, the Autism Community in Action. So if we can monetize it, it's up to you guys. You can watch it. I'm not asking for donations. Just watch it, subscribe, share it, and any money I get from it, I will give straight to the Autism Community in Action, TACA.
Well, make sure you send me that link, Gary.
I will.
Yeah. And obviously, on that note, a lot of Texas fights that we have talked about. A lot of Texas fighters.
That's why the timing. I just launched the website, the YouTube channel today. It's perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Well,
I
Gary,
don't have anything from the trials because I don't do interviews.
that is true. On that note, let's get to the marquee event of the weekend. Right, Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Ben Askren.
Oh, not Omar Juarez.
We're gonna get to that. Don't worry. I want to get this out of the way because we've actually received a lot of comments about this event on our videos, on our shows. So I thought at least give it its just due because clearly it's going to get the most attention this weekend, right? At least online attention.
Yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know. However you want to look at it, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a good thing. Any publicity, good publicity?
Quickly, Gary, refresh your page, please. You're cutting in and out there.
Okay.
Thank you. I know Gary's going to wax on poetically once he comes back after he's just hanging out here and not actually refreshing the page. There he goes. He's probably going to wax on about how, it's Jake Paul, and Ben Askren, two guys making their pro debuts on a pay-per-view for Triller. Who cares? But there are some good fighters on the undercard. And I think, in terms of us hardcores, we can always support the solid fighters on the undercard. Gary, you back?
I'm back. Are we good? My Ethernet got disconnected.
I knew something happened. I could tell. But Gary, I know you don't care about Jake Paul, Ben Askren, and I'll be honest, I don't care either. I do think Jake Paul is going to beat Ben Askren if anyone wants.
I don't even know who Ben Askren is.
He is a former UFC and MMA fighter.
Is he good?
Not in striking.
Okay.
He was a big time collegiate wrestler. And that's about it. He got his ass beat in the UFC really bad.
All right. So
yes.
This doesn't move the needle for me. I'm not going to pay for this, obviously. Oh, God. There's a Breezes Pro fight on against Baranchek, which is a solid fight, right? I mean, it's a good fight.
No. Not Baranchek. Red Catch.
Oh, Red Catch. That's right. What did I say? Baranchek?
Yeah.
Red Catch, which is
not all Eastern Europeans are the same, Gary. Come on.
I don't know why I said Baranchek. Ivan Red Catch, which is a decent fight. I mean,
Baranchek would make more sense. Let's be honest.
Yeah. They like Red Catch, right? I mean, he knocked out Devin Alexander. And then he bit Danny Garcia. Look, Devin Alexander is a 2-division world champ. You knock him out, it's gonna propel you to bigger things. Look, I'm not saying Devin Alexander is the goods, although when he came up, we all thought he was. Devin Alexander is what he is, an underachiever, I guess. Is that too harsh?
No, I don't think it's too harsh.
Because he is a 2-division world champ, right? Like, I mean, you can say, well, who did he beat? And that's fair. He didn't really win either title legitimately. Who did he beat at 147 to win a belt?
Oh, God.
At 140, he won a vacant belt against Durango, right?
What was that? Was it the British dude? What's his name? That Tim Bradley beat also.
Junior Witter?
Was it Junior Witter?
I don't even know who he... No, because that would have still been at 140.
Hold on. We'll find it. We'll find it, guys. Hold on.
I mean, who did Alexander beat to win a title at 147? He lost to everybody. He lost to Khan. He lost to Porter.
You want to know what it is?
Yeah. I honestly don't remember.
Randall Bailey.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Bailey's...
For the IBF belt, and Sean Porter beat Alexander for the IBF belt.
Bailey got... I remember Bailey, because Bailey has that power. I love Randall Bailey. And he got a knockout. And that's what punchers can do. And then he got outboxed by that. I remember that now. Yes.
That was in 2012. Almost 10 years ago now, Gary.
That's crazy. And Devin Alexander was probably 26 at that time, right? 25?
How old is he now? When was he born? I fucking hate BoxRec sometimes. Jesus Christ. You guys can put his age.
Yeah, and they got to make everything difficult, don't they?
Love you, Gray Johnson, but come on, man. Fix BoxRec. You can do it. Digressing, though. I mean, yeah, we have Prograis versus Red Catch. Lorenzo Simpson is a good prospect out of the Baltimore area, so I'm excited to see him fight, even though he's not fighting anyone of note, really. Junior Johan has been a prospect for some time, though I don't think he's going to be a champion at any point in his career, but he's going to be a top 15, top 20 guy at super middleweight, especially since it's super middleweight. And then you have the Steve Cunningham comeback. I want to see him beat up Frank Mir. I hope Steve Cunningham wins. He should. And that's about it for this review card.
I know Frank Mir. How old is that guy? I guess he's Steve Cunningham's age.
He's got to be in his 40s, right?
Yeah, Steve Cunningham's got to be in his 40s too, right?
I would assume so, yeah. But Steve Cunningham is, a professional boxer.
Yeah, no, but and a good one too.
Yeah, decent one. Yeah.
I just don't understand, what Frank Mir. Look, boxing fans aren't going to buy it because Steve Cunningham is fighting. Are UFC fans going to buy it because Frank Mir is fighting and 45 years old?
No, but I think internet people that are highly online, will pay attention to this main event.
The main event, yeah. Steve Cunningham and Frank Mir add 0 eyes to it, right?
I think everything on this card adds 0 eyes to it, other than the main event.
You don't think that boxing fans are tempted to buy it to see Prograis?
Buy it? No. Watch it? Yes. Yes. Watching it's different than buying.
No, that's true. I'll watch it. I ain't paying $5 for this. I'd pay $5 for it. I'd pay 10.
I wouldn't. It's too easy to fucking illegally stream. And HD quality nowadays. No. I want to give my money to fighters that are or fights that are worth the money. And this is not worth the money. Right? There's going to be a few exhibitions later down the road that are in the works, Miguel Cotto, Juan Manuel Marquez. That's something that I would maybe pay for. If it's cheap, I would maybe think about that because those are two legends that, hey, you want to get a swan song payday? I don't mind chipping in and helping that out.
I do it. Both those guys are two of the sport's good guys, and they're both great fighters who fought everybody. Why can't they just walk away? You get the money. Marquez can't need the money. He's royalty. I don't think Cotto, I don't know their personal finances, but Marquez in Mexico City's your money's no good here. The Beatles. Wait, come on.
Yeah, but let's be honest. If Teofimo Lopez is getting $6 million,
yeah.
Imagine what they
I guess so.
Say to Miguel Cotto Marquez or Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs. That's probably going to happen. There's a lot of exhibitions. Another one that's going to happen is Eddie Alvarez versus Oscar De La Hoya. is in negotiations. Like, we're just in the age of.
Why am I into that? Like, that one intrigues me. Like, I want to watch that one.
Yeah, you're sick.
I'll buy that one.
Why?
I don't know, because I like De La Hoya's on the wall. There it is.
Oh, by the way, Triller bought out Fight TV, just so those that want to know.
Which is, they have fights on Fight TV.
Makes sense.
The Gilberto Ramirez fight was on that. His last fight against Alfonso Lopez.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you're actually into this Eddie Alvarez Oscar De La Hoya fight? Why?
I'm not into it like I'm into it Barrios versus Tank, but I'm intrigued by this fight. I am. If it happens, I'll even probably buy it. I don't know why. I was just like De La Hoya.
Do you think Eddie has a chance, or do you just want? Do you think Eddie has a chance, or you just for Oscar?
I'll be honest. If De La Hoya got knocked out, I'd kind of laugh. I don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like a win-win.
And Eddie Alvarez doesn't have bad boxing. He's not the best boxer in MMA history, of course, but he has decent boxing skills.
De La Hoya is one of the best boxers, high-speed chess players I ever saw.
But let's be honest, Gary. Did you see him work out like on his Instagram the other day?
No, it's not good. Like
no.
James Toney is older than De La Hoya, I would imagine, right? He's got to be older, and he's fat, and his workouts are still like incredible. Do you ever see James? Oh, you don't have Facebook. James Toney puts his workout sometimes on Facebook.
Oh,
like he still looks like. I mean, I know he's all roided up and stuff, but like he still looks like he's in his 30s. He's probably in his 50s. You know what I'm saying? De La Hoya looked like he was 50.
Yeah, De La Hoya looked old. He looked uncomfortable in there. It was bad. I'll be honest. I don't want to. I'd rather see Mike Tyson in like 10 more exhibitions than Oscar in one.
If De La Hoya got knocked out, you would like
what?
If he face planted like Pacquiao. If Eddie Alvarez face planted De La Hoya like Marquez did to Pacquiao.
Dude, Canelo will be dancing naked in the streets. Okay, Canelo Alvarez would be. Let's be honest. Dude, Canelo Alvarez probably like send Eddie Alvarez like $1 million like gift.
Do you think he will come out with fake concern that he's worried about the health of Oscar if Oscar gets knocked out? Do you think Canelo will come out with fake concern? Okay.
No, I don't think so. There was even there's an article out, an interview of Canelo on Boxing Scene that like it was just published. I didn't have a chance to read it, but it was about his relationship with Oscar. I am curious to check it out. But I think the headline was something to the effect of, Canelo Alvarez, something went wrong with Oscar. Like that's kind of like what the headline was. I'm curious to read.
No, Oscar still plans on promoting him.
With what?
You gotta ask Oscar.
Jaime Munguia. Let's be honest. DAZN has put Oscar and Golden Boy in timeout, and the only reason they let them play is because of Ryan Garcia.
Virgil Ortiz, but I agree.
You know that's wrong, right? Like if there's no Ryan Garcia, Golden Boy would get just blacklisted by.
If there's no Ryan Garcia, then Golden Boy folds, and Virgil Ortiz probably gets to go to PBC.
That's probably true.
Or Top Rank, and he gets a Crawford fight. All right, but probably PBC because that's where all the names are. True.
Now let's get to real fights this weekend, Gary. Let's talk about the card that your boy's on, the PBC on Fox card. Tony Harrison versus Bryant Perella, Omar Juarez versus Elias Aruro, Vito Milanicki Jr. is back. Darren Price on the card. The Parentis brothers are on the card, and that's about it from people that I know. Gary, thoughts on this PBC on Fox event?
It's not bad.
It's not wow in any way.
It's good to have Harrison back. Harrison's a former world champion. Perella is moving up to 54. I think he belongs at 54. I think in the Abel Ramos fight, he faded because he was so drained trying to make 47. He's kind of tall, and he's kind of big for 147. He doesn't really look like a 47-pounder. So I'd like to see... I've always thought... Look, I'm not saying Perella's a top 10 guy. He's not. In any division. But he could be a top 20 guy. I always thought he kind of had some skills. I don't expect him to beat Harrison, but I'd like to see how he looks at 154. I think because he was beating Ramos up, and then he just ran out of steam. It was like 10 2 seconds. How many seconds was left in that fight when Ramos knocked him out? It was right at the bell.
Yeah, it was close.
So even with the second knockdown, he probably still was up on points, right? Even with a 10-7 round.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was doing well in that fight. He's winning all the rounds. So I'm interested in seeing how Perella does at 54. I think he'll lose most of the rounds, but he won't get stopped, and he'll account okay for himself. Like, you'll leave the fight saying, you know what, Perella is a worthy kind of stepping stone.
Or a comeback fight.
Tony
Harrison, right? He's going to be competitive in spots. He's going to win maybe, 2 or 3 rounds.
You know what I kind of think of Perella? I kind of think Perella fits in with 154-pounders from the UK, like Cheeseman and Fowler. Like, he's got some skills. He's not bad. I think, like, you would say Fowler is not bad, right? Like, Fowler and Scott Fitzgerald, they're not bad.
No, they're not.
I mean, they're not going to beat Jamel, right? But they're not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Perella fits in there.
Perella is definitely a club-level guy in the U.S. scene, comparative to club-level guys in the UK scene. Absolutely. Tony Harrison should win this one, without a doubt. Frank over on Twitch is asking, wait, no prediction on Paul Askren. I think I said that I'm picking Jake Paul to win. I know Gary doesn't give a flying fuck about it.
I don't like the Paul brothers, so I'm going to take Askren to win.
Ben Askren has the worst striking I have ever seen in any combat sport, event, fight, theater, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, Ben Askren is the worst thing that's ever been created.
You said he was a high-level college wrestler, right?
Yes.
He's an athlete, that means. So if he took... If he tried...
Nope. He's not.
I don't know. He's
dude,
not?
Dude, Gary, I will send you some videos of Ben Askren, okay? I'm telling you, man, he is not going to win.
I don't know Ben Askren from, I don't know. Ben Savage. Anyway. I don't know.
Well, Ben Savage getting some shade.
No shade. I'm just saying. Yeah.
They almost have the same hairdo.
One guy is a Division I athlete. The other guy is a podcaster who I don't understand the appeal.
He wasn't he wasn't a podcaster.
Whatever. Whatever.
He was never a podcaster.
Whatever. What does Jake Paul do? He makes a YouTuber?
They came from Vine. They were a part of the Vine boom. Remember Vine?
I do remember Vine.
Yeah, back in 2008, 9?
Is it that? Okay, maybe. Yeah.
I want to say it was that old. It could be more like 2011, 12. But they were Vine stars, so they were doing skits, like they were like comedy skits.
And but is it funny, or is it just him like throwing himself down a flight of stairs? Like, were they funny? Like, he doesn't. He's not funny. He's not like comical, right?
Gary, I'm not a fan of the Paul brothers. You're not going to get me here.
That's what it's like. One guy is famous for reasons he's famous and he makes lots of money. That's fine. I don't really understand why.
But it doesn't matter, Gary. We have watched him fight enough times now and box. I've seen Ben Askren box enough times, and I can tell you, Gary, one of them is an athlete and one of them's a natural boxer. And guess what? It's the person with 0 professional fighting history.
All right.
Ben Askren is the most unathletic fighter I have ever seen. Okay. He's a very skilled grappler. Okay. He was very dominant in terms of control. Like, he was not a guy that was an explosive wrestler. I also don't think he was a freestyle wrestler. I want to say he was a Greco-Roman, which doesn't require as much explosive athleticism. But I'm telling you, man, like, this guy, like, Gary, you can beat him up. Gary, I will bet my entire life savings, which is nothing, on you beating up Ben Askren in a boxing fight.
So you're telling me if Ben Askren went to a boxing camp, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, took it seriously, worked with trainers, he'd still be terrible.
We've seen Jake Paul do that for 3 years now.
I don't know how serious Jake Paul's taking it.
Dude, he's sparring like all the LA fucking guys.
Is he really? Is that okay? I don't really know what's for camera and what's for real.
No, he's good. Like,
right.
I I know, like, we kind of like joke about it, but like Jake Paul has some skills for a guy that has no professional boxing history and no real amateur history, of course, right?
Right.
But
One
the guy
fight,
has
yeah.
natural skills. He can fight. Like, the kid can fight. Like, that's the difference. Ben Askren can wrestle and like grapple with you, but fighting a 12-round or 8-round boxing fight, the endurance it takes, no, Ben Askren's going to tire out within rounds 3 and get knocked out within rounds 4 or 5.
All right.
Like, it's not going to be pretty. Jake Paul has better timing, better hand speed, better technique, fluidity. Like, it's sad that I have to say that a fucking former Vine star, now YouTuber, and Jake Paul is going to beat up a former champion in MMA and a collegiate, like, All-American, like, Division I champion as well. But, hey, these things happen.
You kind of convinced me that he might lose, but I'm gonna stick with him just in case I'm right. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't really care if I'm wrong, and if I'm right, I'm like, ha, I told you so. Like, if he loses, I'm like, I don't care if Ben Askren lost. I don't even know who he is. But if he wins, I'm gonna come back and say, I told you so.
Hey, man, it doesn't matter, man. I'm telling you, I've seen this guy. Oh my God, Gary! Like, the flashes that are going through my head right now of his fights and how horrible it is. Gary, you would watch it and think it's a comedy show. Like, that's how bad he is. Like, you would think it's like Dumb and Dumber shit. Like, that's how bad Ben Askren is. Like, he falls over himself and falls down striking. Like, more than once in like all of his big fights. And plus, like, all of his like major fights, he's been like knocked out in, if we're being quite honest. Digressing though.
So Matt's taking Jake Paul.
Yes.
Logan Paul? Paul Logan?
Jake Paul. Logan Paul's supposed to be fighting Mayweather.
Okay. And I'm taking
Ben Askren.
I'm taking Ben Askren, who I don't know.
And Frank saying, Matt, no way a podcaster beats an MMA champion. That's not what I said. I said Gary can beat up Ben Askren in a boxing fight. That is a very specific scenario. Ben Askren is not just a generic MMA champion. He's the MMA champion that's had the worst striking in the sport's history. Like, Gary, remember that guy? Oh, man, we mentioned this guy the other day that got knocked out and he, like, was...
the worst fighter ever.
Yeah, the worst fighter ever. Yeah.
My boy, John Rincon. If you YouTube John Rincon from Corpus Christi, you'll see the fight. You'll see what exactly we're talking about.
Yes. Ben Askren has what's boxing with him. Like, I wish I was joking here. Okay. And it's so funny because like the entire MMA community is not picking Ben Askren to win. Like, no one I know in the MMA community is picking him to win.
All right. I mean, I'm kind of thinking he's going to lose now, but just to add interest, I'll pick him. If you go to Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube and you put in John Rincon, there's an interview with John Rincon where he talks about fighting the worst fighter ever and how he got hate for it. It's like, what do you want me to do? We're both making our pro debut. What do you want from me? Like, this is the guy that gave me the fight. But Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube, and put in John Rincon, that'll come up.
Yoda saying Gary right now will gas within the first 2 minutes. Thus, Ben will win by cardio default. Get training, Gary. Then you got a shot. Look, Yoda, Ben Askren passed out basically within the first round of the Damian Maia fight, and then did lazy ass spinning back fist for the next 3 rounds until Damian Maia, who's also one of the worst strikers in MMA history, knocked him out. No. Ben Askren is the most unathletic person I've ever seen in high-level athletics. That's all I can say.
I saw a meme that said, is Tom Brady the best athlete of the century, despite not being a very good athlete at all?
Ben Askren's a shitty athlete and a shitty athlete in and of itself, you know? Anyways, on that card, also Omar Juarez. I know you probably want to make mention of Omar Juarez. Gary, on the PBC card, going back.
Yes,
to that.
Omar Juarez fighting his first 10-rounder.
It is, yeah.
What name did you have him? Because he got a late
Elias Damian Oworo.
Okay.
21 and 2. 8 knockouts.
Argentinian fighter.
Yes.
This would be a good test for Omar Juarez. I like to see him get a knockout because this guy, at least from his record, suggests that he can't punch. So I want Juarez to get him out. Get a little aggressive and get him out. If he doesn't, look, Juarez has power. He's not a knockout artist. That's not really his thing. He's speed and timing. There's a trainer in San Antonio who goes, why is he good? Because he's really smart, because he's got good timing, and he's got a really high ring IQ. There are a lot of people from that area who are a little bit jealous of Omar Juarez. Like, they don't really see it. And then, like, he's like a super nice guy. He's like boxing's Tim Tebow. Like, there's a little bit of resentment towards him. But if you go to Omar Juarez, if you go to Texas boxing scene, I just got to talk to Omar Juarez when I was in San Antonio this past weekend. I got a pretty good interview with El Relampico. I like this fight. I want to see Juarez win, and then I want to see him start fighting better fighters. This is a good step up, but this is his 11th fight now. He's still only 22, so it's not a rush. But like, if you get rid of this guy and you dominate him, like I think you should, let's step up the level of competition. You know, let's fight Ivan Redcash after this.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Or Branchik, right? The other guy.
That's a big step up.
No, I'm joking.
He's still only 22.
Hey, Jared Enos is what, 23?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, not all 23-year-olds are great equal, but that's true.
That's
true.
Anyways, moving on from that card, unless you have any other thoughts on the PBC on Fox event, Gary.
No.
Dimitri Andrade on DAZN over in Florida is fighting.
Oh, and Milanicki fights on that card too, right?
Yeah.
I hope he loses. I don't even know why I dislike him.
He
I just don't
better.
think he did look better. I give it. He looked better his last fight because he's with Goosen now, right?
Yes.
That probably helps to have a good trainer. But he grew up. His dad is the matchmaker for Marshall Kaufman. I think he's made fights for PBC and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's grown up around the sport. You know, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't really. He's got some power. I don't really see anything there.
You'll be like the U.S.'s like, you know, Ted Cheesemans and Scott Fitzgerald's. You'll be like that. You'll be a club guy.
That's pretty good though. Like Cheeseman is like, all right. I mean, if he gets to that level, I'll be impressed. Really.
I think he'll be like that. I think he will.
If he can get to be as good as Brian Perella, I'll be impressed.
Ooh. Wow. High praise there, Gary.
I mean, I don't really see it. Like, you look at Omar Juarez, like, wow, right? Like, that guy's got skills. And who knows if he becomes a world champ? Like Keith Thurman said, when I was talking to Keith Thurman, he said, who knows, right? Like, you got to find out if he's got a dog in him. And he looks good. He's got skills, but I can't say anyone's going to be a world champ. But, you know, I can tell you who's not going to be a world champ, though, and that's Vito Malnicki, right? Like, I can't tell you who will be a world champ outside of the obvious, like Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Boutinas. But I can tell you who's never going to be a world champ, and that's Vito Malnicki. He's not going to be a world champ, right? I mean, he just doesn't have any skills.
No, but he could be like a Jamal James type.
That's still pretty good.
It is, but I mean, that's probably what he's going to be, if I had to guess. Because you have to remember, he's a welterweight, and we're about to see a change in the guard in this division.
And it's a seamless transition to a new Big Four.
And it's really going to happen like almost instantaneously, guys. I really like it happened with the generation we have right now at the top. They just all of a sudden were just the guys. It felt like it's going to be the same way where all of a sudden all these young guys are, you know, 25 to 32 when they were 18 to 25 before. And they're now sort of the guys running the division, the top 10, top 20. It's not out of the question here at all. And I saw market improvement from Vito Malnicki in his last fight. Improvement that I desperately needed to see. Moving on DAZN, Dimitri Andrade versus Liam Williams, Carlos Gongora versus Christopher Pearson, Majidov versus Andrei Fedosov, and some other guy. And then Otho Jones III, Alexis Espano, and then Aaron Appenty. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Obviously, fights I care about on this card is the main event. It's a decent matchup, to be quite honest, even though it's not the matchup I want to see for Dimitri Andrade, but it's a step up comparative to his last few fights. Carlos Gongora is all of a sudden, I think, a prospect at the super middleweight division. He looked great in his last fight. Cannot wait to see, you know, where he progresses. And Otho Jones III. I mean, obviously a prospect that's been highly touted, a blue chip prospect. I want to see how he improves.
He's going to lose. Otho Jones is going to lose. He's fighting my boy Jorge Castaneda. He's going to lose. Jorge Castaneda is from Laredo. If you go to Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube, I got a bunch of interviews with Jorge Castaneda. He's a straightforward Mexican fighter. His footwork's a little bit of a mess, but he's a beast. Like for 130, he's a physical beast. He's got really good snap on his punches. He needs to clean it up a little bit. He works with Orlando Canizales down in Laredo, so it's like he will get better. And he hasn't fought in almost 2 years now. He supposed to fight like December of 2019. He got sick, and then he's been off since then, obviously. So it's been 2 years. I don't think that's a bad thing for him because he's only like 23. Yeah. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think like he needed to clean up his footwork a lot. And he's working obviously with one of the great little men of all time, Orlando Canizales. I'm telling you right now, Jorge Castaneda is going to beat him. Otha Jones is going to lose.
Otha Jones did have an awful fight in his last performance.
Jorge Castaneda beats up Eric Manriquez, who's the kid that fought him, Otha Jones on the who's the card in Chicago? Mm-hmm. That one that Eddie told him was piss poor.
Yeah.
Castaneda beats that guy up in sparring. Castaneda's going to win this fight. I don't know why they did this to him, unless they want to cut him. Maybe if he wins, they'll be impressed. But they had high hopes with Otha Jones, and he's going to lose. So what's he like 5-0-1 right now?
Yep.
He's going to lose. He's going to be 5-1-1 at this fight, and I don't know what they're going to do with him afterwards.
Yeah, but the top two fights, Andrade versus Liam Williams and Carlos Gongora versus Christopher Pierce. Any thoughts on those two, Gary?
Gongora's fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he beat up Ali Akhmedov.
That was a great fight. Yeah, he stopped him in the last round or 11th round, something late.
It was the last round. Yep.
It was the last round. It was kind of the fight was close at that point, right? But he probably had pulled ahead on the card. I don't remember. I remember that fight being good, but remember thinking he had won going in the last round, then he stopped him. He's undefeated too, right?
Yes, 19.
Where's he from? Ecuador, Colombia? Where? He's from South Central America.
Ecuador. Which just had an election yesterday, by the way. Very monumental election.
That guy's good. Like, he's a really good offensive fighter. He's got good snap. I want to see him. Like, I want to. He should win this fight, obviously. Yeah. I want to see him match. I want to see him fight Munguia. That's what I want to see.
Wrong division.
Wrong division. Yeah, 68, right?
Yeah. But hey, man, it's 68. He can get a big fight pretty quick because there's no one from rank number 10 to 20 that's of note. You can skip that almost right away and go to the top 10 if you want. I would recommend that, if you're Carlos Gongora. You seem like
he a body puncher? I don't remember if he was a body puncher or not.
Yes.
He should fight Kovalev. Beat up Kovalev.
And Andrade, Liam Williams, thought on that?
This is a good fight. Boy, I'm gonna pick Andrade just because he is the much better fighter. He's the much more skilled craftsman. But something's telling me that Andrade's gonna lose this fight. The inactivity, I don't know, kind of unmotivated Andrade that we get after the first couple rounds of the fight, just to kind of going through the motions. Something's telling me Liam Williams is going to win this fight, but I'm not going to. I can't pick that because I don't see his path to victory. So I'm going to pick Andrade, but boy, if you feel like taking a little gamble and those odds are nice, I think Liam Williams is a bet worth taking. Depending on what the odds are.
Do not bet on Liam Williams if you're listening to this show. Please do not do that.
I'm not a gambling advisor. I'm just saying.
Come on, Andrade. Even though we shit on him all the time, he hasn't really fought anyone of note since Vans Marrosen on HBO in 2012. He should beat Liam Williams. Like that
should. I don't see a path to victory for Liam Williams, so I'm taking Andrade. But I don't know. I got this weird feeling that he's going to lose the fight.
Like Liam Williams has, some dog in him. He's definitely a guy that's not going to go in there and not try, of course. But he doesn't have the skill set, doesn't have the IQ, doesn't have the power. There's just a lot of things he just doesn't have.
Do you have his box rec up? Because I was looking at him yesterday. I'm going to go back and watch some Liam Williams. Since he lost to Beefy Smith in those back-to-back fights in 17.
Yep.
He's run off some impressive wins. Like, he's got some decent wins.
Who?
I don't remember. I was looking at his box rec yesterday.
The only name of note here is Alontes Fox.
Alontes Fox. And there's somebody else on that list, too, isn't there?
What, Mark Heffron?
Yeah, Mark Heffron. All right. I mean, maybe it wasn't as impressive as I thought. I remember looking at it. Like, he put together about 4 wins since those 2 losses to Beefy. And I was like, you know what? Those are some Mark Heffron and
Mark Heffron was undefeated, but he beat no one.
Yeah, it was
He was
kind of a
24-0 and had beat nobody.
Yeah, he was kind of a prospect that didn't work out.
It wasn't 24-0. I think it was like 19-0. But anyways, now there's no one here of note that really goes, yeah, this is the fight where we can look back on and said, yeah, he can beat up Andrade down the stretch and win something there. No, there's nothing here that says that.
I get that Andrade's resume is better, and it is. He's got wins over Salisky and Willie. Which Willie did he beat? Monroe or Willie Nelson? Willie Nelson, right?
Yes, I think it was Willie Nelson.
He's got wins like that. Brian Rose. I mean, they're fighters. They're
I mean, the best win on Liam Williams' resume. I mean, Andrade beat him too. Alontes Fox.
Alontes Fox. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like this is gonna look a lot like maybe like the Luke Keeler fight in some fashion. I would not be surprised by that.
Can we get him a better fight than this, though? I mean, I know they make fun of him on the zone for reasons I don't understand. Like, they like to have fun at his expense, but I mean, who was it in the chat? It's like he's been a champion for 9 years.
I mean, the sad part is like you have an in-house both network and promoter wise fight firm that's a top 5, top 2 middleweight fight in Triple G. Like that should be the easiest fight to make right now.
And Triple G wants no part of that because if he loses the Canelo fight.
No part of it, man. Eddie's been pretty publicly admitting it to the fact that he cannot make that fight. That's in-house fight for him. I mean, what do you do if you're Andrade? Like, that's the reality. Like, there's no one on your stable that wants to fight you. You're not any sort of draw to where, even though you're a high-risk fight, people want to fight you. You're not. You're not a high reward. So, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing. It's unfortunate matter that we're in the prize fighting game and he's not really a high prize.
It's true.
You know, like I don't know how to get around it right now other than just like making it a loss leader fight and throwing a bunch of money at that matchup. Whether it's Triple G Andrade, whether it's Charlo Andrade, whether it's Munguia Andrade. I don't know who we're gonna like bring up here. Daniel Jacobs.
If they wanted if Munguia's team wanted the fight, they could have got it because he came up from the WBO 154-pound champ. So he could have got that fight if they wanted it via the WBO's rules. But Munguia didn't want that fight.
What I'm saying is that obviously these guys aren't going to want to fight Andrade for the money that those respective fights are worth. So if you're a promoter or network, you have to make these a loss leader and throw a ton of money at this fight that you're going to lose.
Yeah, they're not putting that my money behind Andrade.
No,
unless they thought they had a Canelo fight behind it. If they thought they had a Canelo fight behind it, they would do it. But obviously, they don't think that.
No, they don't think that for I think a variety of reasons, but they do not think that. So, I mean, we're in this sort of just shit show of a situation here with Demetrius Andrade's career. A guy that is supremely talented, a guy that is a little bit, cringy at times, to be quite honest, but he's a fun personality at times as well. But he just doesn't produce the highlight reels you want. He's not the star that you want.
No, he falls asleep after the third round. That's why I kind of think like he's going to lose at some point.
Oh, he is.
He's going to fall asleep, but not this fight.
No, not this one. A Munguia one would be far more likely for him to fall asleep at the wheel. In my opinion. And then obviously, like, if he fought like legit fighters like Daniel Jacobs, Triple G, like, it's conceivable that they could beat him as well because those are just respectively good fighters. Unlike, Munguia and Liam Williams, who are just club level guys who could have a great night against Andrade, but don't really have the path of victory there. Gary, moving off of fights this weekend, let's see if you have any other thoughts about fights that are coming up this weekend.
No.
Let's talk about all the fights that were announced on Showtime. It's a lot. Luis Nery versus Brandon Figueroa, which I, by the way, called. Gary, I told you guys that was going to happen. Obali versus Nito Donaire. We knew that was going to happen. Jamal Charlo versus Juan Montiel. Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios with the Rosario and Lubin fight as the co-main event. And that's a pay-per-view. Chris Cobra versus Yurick Escamboa. Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano. Guillermo Rigondeaux versus John Rio Casamora, Dave Benavidez versus Jose Uzcategui, and Stephen Fulton versus the winner of the first event on the schedule, Neri and Figueroa. Gary, your thoughts on this jam-packed schedule?
It's good.
Hold on, Gary. I say that again. I apologize.
Did you kick me out of the show?
I did that on accident. Sorry.
This is good. There's good fights. Some of the fights, like Uzcategui, is like, isn't he kind of washed? Gamboa's kind of washed, but like, they're not bad. None of those fights are bad. I think the only one that you could say is bad is Benavidez versus Uzcategui, but you got to think Uzcategui is washed.
There's two that you can say are bad.
Colbert and Gamboa?
Oh, maybe three then. Benavidez, Uzcategui, Colbert Gamboa, and Charlo Montiel.
Montiel earned the fight, though. Montiel knocked out. They wanted this to be Charlo versus Kirkland, but Montiel knocked Kirkland out in the first round. So now it's Montiel. Like, they wanted it to be Kirkland and Charlo in Houston, and they have a Charlo brothers doubleheader. Then Charlo got Castano, Jamel got Castano, so they needed to make two cards. And then, so the original plan was to have a Houston doubleheader with the Charlo brothers. But once they made the unification fight, for Undisputed, there was too much money in that fight, so they had to split the card up. So they wanted Jamal Charlo from Houston against Kirkland from Austin, and an all-Texas card in Houston. And then Kirkland got knocked out. So Montiel took his fight. And then again, I don't know. I mean, that was the first time we saw Montiel, wasn't it? Maybe he's not bad. I don't know. You know, we've seen him once and he got a first-round knockout over Kirkland.
So?
I don't think it's a bad fight. I think he earned the fight.
That'd be like saying, like, when Daniel Dubois beat up Kevin Johnson, that he earned a shot against Wilder or Fury or AJ at that time. You'd be like, no, it doesn't.
Were they trying to make a Kevin Johnson versus Wilder fight?
Maybe.
Was that their goal?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But Gary, you have to admit here, like, just because they're wanting to make James Kirkland instead doesn't make either matchup good. It's a shit sandwich or a douche. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. They're all shit.
If Kirkland would have...
No, who cares if James Kirkland beat up Juan Montiel? Those guys are non-factors in the division. Those guys aren't even top 20 motherfuckers.
No, they're not.
Who cares who wins that fight? I don't want Charlie to fight either one of those guys. Come on here. We just shitted on Andrade for fighting nobodies. Look at fucking Charlo.
No, it's not a great fight. It's not, but
it's a shit fight. It's a shit fight. Okay, I want my ass at every morning.
I don't think it's as bad as Matt thinks it is. I think, you know, it's question marks on Montiel because we don't know anything about him. Outside of it, he destroyed Kirkland in one round in a fight that Kirkland was supposed to win.
No, he wasn't. No one cared about that fight. No, Gary, Kirkland had been fighting for years. No one was caring about James Kirkland. Nobody watched that fight.
See, that's the original thing because people in Texas love James Kirkland.
No one gives a fuck about James Kirkland. No one.
Can you guys?
No one is buying or paying tickets or making a trip to a boxing event because of James goddamn Kirkland.
How many tickets did Kirkland sell in Houston when he fought Canelo?
Canelo!
Right, and he sold the most. It was more.
Stop. That's like saying, you know what? How many tickets does Joshua fucking Claudio sell in Texas? Who cares? He fought fucking Pacquiao.
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Kirkland against Canelo in Houston sold more than Canelo in Dallas and Canelo in San Antonio. Why? Because people in Texas love Kirkland.
No.
No. Why did it sell more?
San Antonio is a better fight town than Dallas or Houston.
This was in Houston. No, the Kirkland fight was in Houston. It was at Minute Maid Park. It sold more.
You just said that Kirkland was in San Antonio.
No, Canelo Trout was in San Antonio. Canelo Kirkland was in Houston. Canelo Beefy Smith was in Dallas. And the Kirkland fight sold the most tickets.
So Austin Trout has never been a draw. Liam Smith is from the fucking UK. And you're saying, oh, well, you know, James Kirkland sold more tickets than those guys. Who cares? You're getting worked up today. Because honestly, Gary, like that, Like, I'm a Jamal Charlo fan. I don't want to fucking defend this shit, so I'm not. It's dog shit.
I haven't defended it.
Gary, you take
have I defended? I said saying it's not that bad. It's not as bad as Matt thinks it is. It's not really a ringing endorsement. It's bad, fight.
Gary. It is a bad fight. You have to admit that. There's nothing good about this fight.
It's not a good fight. I don't think it's as bad as you think it is.
No. Is it a bad fight, Gary? Yes or no?
This is a bad fight. It's not a good fight. Is it a bad
Gary,
fight?
Answer my question, please. No. Yes or no?
In the middle.
Everyone in the chat saying it's awful, it's bad, it's shit. You know why? Because it's shit.
All right.
Like, Gary, like if this was like a Triller pay-per-view, would you pay for it?
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah,
it's a shit fight.
Nothing like that.
Because it's a shit fight, Gary. Like, let's say you didn't have Showtime. Would you pay the $10.99 a month to watch this? Fuck no.
$10.99, I'd pay $10.99 to watch it.
No. Gary, I can send you a fucking stream right now that's HD 1080p.
Oh, if I can get it for free, if I have a good stream, no. That's fair. But, okay, that's fair. If you give me a good stream, a 1080 HP, no interruptions, smooth stream where the sound's not off.
That's every stream now, though, Gary. Let's be honest. Every stream is HD 1080.
All right. Yeah. Okay. No, I wouldn't buy it. But do you think it's worse than or equivalent to Redcast, the Rage's program versus Redcast fight? It's about the same, right?
That's a shit fight too, though.
All right.
Like, sorry, beating Devin Alexander in the year of our Lord 2019 or 20 means nothing.
That too.
Just
that
like
might have been 2019.
I think it was 2019.
It might have been.
It had to be 2019, Gary. Let's be honest. It's just from a timing perspective, I feel like it has to be. Beating James Kirkland in the year of our Lord 2019 or 20 doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't care about that. Like, these are non-factors in the division. You know, these are guys that largely were never were. Like, they're not even has-beens. Like, James Kirkland was never a champion, was he?
No.
You know, like
too much time in jail during the prime of his career.
Red Catch has never been a champion.
No, I don't think so.
You know,
a lot of guys are champions, but I don't think Red Catch. No.
I think both those fights are dog shit. Like, that's the reality here. The difference is that Progress is moving up to 147. It's his first fight in the division. Charlo's a goddamn fucking champion. And he's fought nobody. Not a goddamn person at the 160-pound division.
Derevchenko.
Okay, sorry. You're right. Derevchenko. That was a good win. But then they go back to, you know, either...
I know. Dennis Hogan and Korobov, which you arguably lost. I get it. I do. I get it. And who am I missing? There's another fight in there, too, isn't there? Brandon Cannon Adams. Yeah. It's not good. I'm not defending that.
Was Centeno in that mix, too?
I feel like Centennial was before he won the title.
You might be right about that. You might be right.
It was after the one-legged Argentinian.
That's right. Oh, my God. Gary. And, like, to connect it to another fight that you mentioned, and I think we can agree on this one, that the Benavidez-Uzgatki fight would have been really good in 2017.
Yeah.
Right? That would have been a great fight in 2017 or 18.
Yeah.
It's no longer in 2017 or 18. Uzgatki has not been the same, has not been active. Lost to Lionel Thompson, right? Isn't that who he lost to?
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't Lionel Thompson get the call up?
Seriously, because I guess but that's the run of speaking of the run, Rolly said that
God, Joe.
Rolly said that Barrios is gonna knock out Tank. He's gonna stay the runt of the Mayweather boxing gym. Like, what?
Oh my God.
I was talking to Omar about, because he sparred with Tank for Tank's fight with Santa Cruz, and he said that power. He said with 16-ounce gloves on, he said he got hit with the same uppercut that Santa Cruz got hit with, but he kind of blocked it, like half blocked it with his glove, and he was like, "Damn, I can't get hit with that." And that's with 16-ounce gloves on. He said when Santa Cruz got hit with it, it's like, "You ain't getting up from that." I've seen that before. He said, but he just said, but we'll get that. If Mario stays on the outside, Mario should be fine. But if he gets on the inside,
It's gonna be a tough.
Yeah, all bets are off.
I'm really intrigued by that matchup, but digress from that for a second. I don't know what they're doing with Benavidez. Like they should have just made the Benavidez Jamal Charlo fight. Especially when both sides seemed somewhat interested in the matchup. I would have cut out this middleman of these matchups and just made that fight. And I don't know why they're not doing it. I don't know why they're not being a little more adventurous with their matchmaking here at times. Because especially when there are fights here that do exemplify some really adventurous matchmaking. You have Luis Nery versus Brandon Figueroa, which I know Gary is absolutely hyped on, and I am as well. That's a matchup that is risky for a lot of reasons, but they're doing it. And the winner of that fight is Stephen Fulton.
The good thing is that there's so much talent on the PBC side at 122 that the loser can get back into play really quickly.
Absolutely, yes. That's definitely true with that. And look at like Guillermo Rigondeaux, John Rayo Casamora. I love that fight too. Fight. I love that matchup. And obviously, we have like the in-house undisputed unification in Jamel Charlo, Brian Casano. Those are all really good fights. Those are all risky matchups that, for most of them being in-house fights, we've seen time and time again promotional entities, even though PBC is not a promotional entity, shy away from those risky matchups to put them off for later to marinate them. And some of these are not being marinated. Like, they could have marinated Luis Nery, Brandon Figueroa. They could have marinated the winner of that versus Stephen Fulton. They're not. Why aren't they doing that with Jamal Charlo and Benavidez? Two guys who I think could be pillars to the PBC platform, but for some reason seem to keep getting bad matchups after bad matchups, keep getting undercut in some fashion. And obviously I don't think it's a malicious reason by PBC, but I think it's bad business. I think it's bad matchmaking. I think it's bad promotion or management, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know why there is this seemingly disconnect with Jamal Charlo and Benavidez.
You know who they should have gave the Jamal Charlo fight to? Kieran Davis, because he won that Anthony Durrell fight.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They should have gave him. They should have said, you know what? You got robbed in that fight. We're gonna give you another chance. You're gonna lose, but we're gonna give you a chance at a world title. You can fight Jamal because you won that fight. If he would have gotten the decision, he would be in a world title, discussion. Yep. Like, you did win that fight. We're gonna treat it that way here. They could have gave that fight to Kieran Davis, and that would have been a much better fight.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Tony Ayo in the chat saying Caleb Plant, a Fox fighter now, wasn't on the list for Showtime. Well, PBC fighters aren't either Showtime or Fox fighters. They're just PBC fighters. And Tony Ayo is saying, is the Filipino PBC fighter any good from last week? And Cajas used to be on Top Rank, and he was obviously touted as the next Manny Pacquiao by Top Rank for years. No, he is not the next Manny Pacquiao. He's left-handed and from the Philippines. Obviously, he's the next Manny Pacquiao. Clearly. I think he belongs probably in, like number 9 or number 10 in the world at super flyweight, to give him that respect.
But he's a fun fighter. He's not gonna win all his fights, but he's always gonna be in a fun fight. He's an offensive fighter. He's fan friendly and he gets hit a lot. So
like match him against, Ioka, Roman Gonzalez, Estrada, Ronga. You lose those fights, but he's a fun fighter.
Manny Rodriguez, who wins?
Well, wrong division, but
it's 3 pounds.
True. I'll pick on Cajas.
I think that's a good fight. Like, I think that's a fight I'd like. I know it's 3 pounds off, but it's
3 pounds off.
Yeah.
Anyways, any other matchups we want to talk about from that schedule, Gary?
Barrios and Tank.
Oh, that's right. Talk about a pay-per-view too.
And then, well, let's do that one first, and then we'll talk about the unification, the undisputed fight.
Yes. I'm not surprised this pay-per-view, obviously, from the numbers we saw with Tank Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, but this should not be pay-per-view. Like, Mauro Barrios is not the B-side that Leo Santa Cruz is. This will do less numbers, I think, than the Leo fight. And plus, it's just not a matchup that I think is deserving of pay-per-view, to be quite honest. Even though it is a risky matchup by Tank in ways that I think people weren't expecting, even though it is slightly far more competitive, I think that people are probably, especially Tank fans, are probably playing it up to be. But this is not a pay-per-view main event in any way, shape, or form. This should be a Showtime or Fox main event. And in terms of the matchup itself, I like the matchup. I do. I don't really understand like the long-term thinking behind it, because Tank shouldn't be at 140 pounds right now. None of the matchups I would make for him in terms of business-wise would be at 140 pounds, be at 135 pounds. So I don't know what the thinking is behind it. Love the matchup for it being a risky, intriguing, kind of confusing matchup at times. And I think it's going to play out to be an exciting fight in the ring. Gary, thoughts on?
I obviously love the fight. It's a gimmick. They want to get Tank 3 belts, and I know it's a WBA regular, and Matt doesn't count it, but they're going to sell him as a 3-division world champion at the same time, simultaneously. 130, 35, and 40. If he wins. That's what they're going to do. I don't think there's long-term, like he's going to stay at 140.
But like that whole shtick doesn't like produce more pay-per-view buys. Like when Canelo Alvarez was the simultaneous 3-division champion at 160, 168, and 175, did anyone give a fuck? No. You know why? Because that 168 belt was the regular belt and not the super belt. Canelo Alvarez, like one of the top 2 or 3 guys in the entire industry, and that gimmick didn't do anything for him.
I like the fight because I think my boy Mario is going to win. And I think it propels Mario. It builds a name for Mario because he beat Tank Davis, right? Like, I think PBC's thinking on the fight is that, and I don't know what the metrics they're looking at, is that Tank sold the fight and that Tank can do 200,000 pay-per-view buys, period, moving forward. And so we like this fight for him. For whatever reason, we want this fight. This is the fight we're doing. I think they put Barrios on that card for a reason. I think they had him fight Santa Cruz for a reason. You know, a long, tall Mexican who fights at range, but not really, who throws a lot of punches. And then they had Barrios fight on that card to expose people to Barrios. I think they've had this in the making for a while. I think it's a fun fight. I think it's a good contrast to styles. I think if Barrios doesn't get too brave and keeps him at the end of his punches, I think Barrios has a field day with him. Kevin, I always said that he's a 4-inch height difference. It's like 8. Look, Barrios is right there. He's taller than me. I'm 5'11". So he's at least 6'6", probably 6'1". Tank is 5'5". I'm not a math major, but that's 8 inches. Right? If he's 6'1", you can see him right there. He's taller than me. And Tank is 5'5". That's 8 inches. 7 inches would be 6 foot, plus another one would be 8 inches. Plus Barrios has the reach. Barrios, from what I understand, walks around at about 165 pounds. Like, he probably weighs about 165 right now.
By the way,
this weight class is for a reason.
By the way, they list his height at 5'10".
Yeah, and that's when he was 8. I'm telling you right now, you'll see that he's not 5'10". I'm 5'11". He's an inch and a half taller than me. I'm just like, they list Usyk at 6'4". He's 6. He's probably the same height as Barrios.
And plus, Gervonta Davis is not 5'5". Put that out there. I've been next to him. He's not 5'5".
How tall do you think he is?
5'2", 5'3".
He's not short. I've never been next to him.
I want to say so.
He is built like a tank.
Maybe I'm wrong because, like, to his credit, he was sitting down when I interviewed him, so like that played a factor too. But like he was small. Like he didn't seem like a lightweight. You know, I'll be honest. Like he seemed like a bantamweight in some fashion. How small he was. I've been around both sizes of fighters. But anyways, digressing from that, Gary, you want to talk about the?
You didn't give a pick. Do you want to give a preliminary pick?
I'll pick Tank. I think he gets on the inside.
I heard Tank smashed up Luis Arias. Remember Luis Arias? I heard at the Mayweather gym.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Tank smashed him up. Arias got like embarrassed and pissed. He was trying to knock, and he got it inside, and Tank smashed him.
And Luis Arias is what, 160, 168?
160. I think he's 168, right?
I think he is now. Yeah.
That power is.
It's real.
Yeah.
It definitely is real. Anyways, other fights from the Showtime schedule you want to talk about, Gary?
Obviously, the Charlo and Castano is the only other. I mean, we talked about Rico. Charlo Castano is the other one that really stands out to me.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best matchups to make in boxing right now. Undisputed Championship. Brian Castano is one of the most exciting, violent fighters in the sport. Jamel Charlo, looked fantastic in the Tony Harrison rematch. Has continued to look good since then. I think has really come into his own as a sort of pound for pound fighter, to be quite honest. And the winner of this obviously is not only is the undisputed champion in this division, but will be in the top 10 pound for pound, in my opinion, undisputedly. Like, there's no way you can argue the winner of this fight does not belong in the top 10 pound for pound in boxing. Gary, your thoughts?
It's a great fight. A little over a year ago, no one knew who Brian Castano was, right? When he fought Lower, like, who's this guy? You looked at him, and he had some decent wins over, like, undefeated guys in Argentina. I don't know. Like, I went and watched him on YouTube. It's like, okay, this guy's pretty good. I was not expecting this. Preliminarily, I think Castano's going to win a fight. I think he's got too much firepower offensively, and I think Charlo's going to trade with him. I think if Charlo fought a smart fight, fought from the outside, kind of kept him off of him, used his range, I think he could win. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to get too brave, and I think he's going to get knocked out. Castano is one of the premier offensive fighters in the way he goes to the head and body, the way he mixes up his combinations, the way he comes in with different angles. He doesn't just walk in the front door. He's really good offensively. Now, he's got plenty of leaks defensively. He can be hit too. But I think this is fireworks, and like, gun to my head, who do I pick right now? I can see either guy winning. Gun to my head right now, I think Castano's got too much firepower offensively, and Charlo trades him one too many times.
I think Castano has good pop, but not the type of lights out power that I think like you imagine when you like can envision him beating up Charlo. Like, we've seen him in I think his 3 big fights of note: Michael Soro, Eslani Laura, and Patrick Teixeira, all win all 3 of them, and those are his only fights of note, really. So maybe like Cedric V2 and something like that, like in France, right? Like other sort of regional guys. But when he's fought high level people, he's often not knocked them out. He's gone the decision.
And who did he fight in his last fight?
Teixeira.
I mean, before Teixeira.
Wally Amatosa.
Oh yeah, he knocked him out, right?
Yeah, and Wally's a good regional guy. Like,
he's okay, yeah.
But not a guy of Jamel Charlo's stature, right? I think this fight's going to come down to who can hurt the other one, to be quite honest. I think either person has a style or strategy or overall sort of tactical array they can impose on the other to win rounds. Whether it's Castano's pressure, whether it's Charlo's boxing ability, skill set, ability to pick angles, whatever it may be, they can both win rounds. That's not really the concern here. Who can hurt the other? Who can really land a shot that is devastating on their opponent? I think Charlo has developed a lot of power as of late at the high level. I think the Tony Harrison rematch is a good example of that, where his power came in late as well. I can see Castano coming in, wild, aggressive, and Charlo just sort of piecing him apart, landing the harder shots, the more effective shots. And by round 10, 11, Castano's the bloodier one of the two. I think it's going to be a real dogfight at times. I cannot wait to see it. I'm picking Jamel Charlo, though. Gary, any other thoughts?
I kind of see it the same way, except going the other way. Like, I envision the same kind of fight you do, but I think after 10, 11 rounds, Jamel Charlo is the worst for wear. Like, I see the fight going the same way you do. Like I said, I can see either guy winning, but I think the Castano is way too good on the inside. Yes, Charlo may have a little more pop, but Castano's going to outland him on the inside because he's better on the inside.
He's more active on the inside for sure, but I don't think Jamel Charlo is unskilled on the inside. He's just not as active.
I think Castano on the inside is really, really good. Like that's.
I'm not saying that he's not good. He's one of the better inside fighters that we have right now. But a lot of that is contributed by the fact that he's a high volume fighter.
Yeah.
Charlo's not. Right? So when you have a guy that's constantly going to the inside, constantly going to the body with volume combinations, the appearance of it, the impression of it is he's the inside fighter. He's the better inside fighter. Right?
Yeah, true.
But what we've seen, let's say, like with Jared Enos and Lipinets, right? Who was the better inside fighter? It was the guy that was able to land the better shots,
the
more effective shots, the more powerful shots. Not the guy that we see all the time being the aggressor, going to the body a lot like Lipinets. I kind of see it in a similar vein with this fight, where Castano is traditionally the better inside guy, but Charlo's the better technician on the inside. He's going to find ways to gain space, create angles to really land his shots better, more efficiently than Castano, and that's going to be a massive factor here. But like you said, Gary, I cannot wait for the fight. I think it's a top 5 fight in the sport to make right now, probably. Gary, any thoughts on the Showtime schedule?
I mostly like it. Again, there are some fights that I would rather see other opponents, right? I don't understand the Kiriakis Gamboa thing. I don't know. I want to see Chris Colbert fight someone better than that. Like, I get it's a name, it's someone you can hang a hat on, it's a scalp. Maybe people still tune into Gamboa. I don't know. And it's just a way to get more eyes on him and make him look good at the same time. But Chris Colbert's so good. Like, let's get him a better opponent than that.
Agreed. We're going to run through the news today, Gary, because I got to run. Unfortunately, it's late. Got a lot of shit to do tomorrow, and I got planned for. Let's run through the news. Fury Joshua, said I wasn't going to talk about this shit, but I am. Approved site offer for the first bout, says Eddie Hearn. Again, I will say I will wait till a full press release. Clarissa Shields has extended her promotional agreement with Dimitri Salita. Gary, I feel like I am taking crazy pills, man. Jesus Christ.
I saw this. I was wondering if you were going to touch on this. Like, really? Get out of it. Get extension.
Dude, it's like Crawford with Top Rank, man.
Exactly.
Like, it's just like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you're
Eddie Hearn had to make her a legitimate offer, right? You would think.
Not when she came from the amateurs.
No, I mean just recently. Like, he's talked to her.
It might not have been a free agency period here. It might have been a I forget the term here we can use, but sort of like first right here on the extension of the offer comparative to then going to free agency. We could have seen that happen here. I don't know. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Clarissa Shields should have not done this.
Again, did he offer her so much money that she can't say no? I don't know. It's hard to believe. I can't imagine that being the case. So I can't for sure say she should have done it because I don't know what she got offered. But it seems like this is insane to me, just being a reasonable person. It's like Dimitri Salita doesn't have enough money. He said he doesn't have enough zeros to put on the end of a check to play Clarissa Shields what she's worth. So I don't really understand
this. We don't know what other businesses are.
Maybe
this is boxing, man. How many promotional companies are just money laundering setups from and from?
Maybe he's got way more monies than we know about.
Maybe he's got like a weed company or shit like that, right? Like that happens all the time. Anyways, where were we on? Ryan Garcia, Javier Fortuna is announced July 9th on DAZN. Rakhimov Ogawa is official for the vacant IBF junior lightweight belt, which obviously Joseph Diaz lost on the scales. And Jaime Munguia, who had a replacement opponent because Salitsky got injured. His replacement opponent got injured as well. So the entire show is now postponed. Gary, any other thoughts on the news?
I didn't hear that Dimitri Ballard thing.
Yeah.
Is it an injury? Yeah, it's an injury. It doesn't say COVID. Okay, so it's not COVID. It's a legitimate injury. Do you know what it is? I didn't even see this until right now.
I did not read the article, I'll be honest, Gary.
Okay.
I can read it fast if you want.
At least you saw it. I didn't even see it, so you got one up on me.
An elbow injury. Does not give the specifics of the injury, though.
Does it say if they're still going to do it in El Paso?
Let me see. It doesn't really mention it specifically.
Julio Cesar Chavez beat John Duddy in El Paso. And Devin Alexander fought Victor Ortiz to a draw in El Paso. Those are the only other big fights I can remember in El Paso. I mean, if you want to call those big fights.
But anyways, Ryan Garcia, Javier Fortuna. Thoughts on that?
It's a good fight. It's Javier Fortuna's a top 10 guy.
Yeah, it's right in the mix of the Luke Campbells of the world.
Yeah. So I don't mind the fight. Like, I think he's a good test, and Ryan Garcia should win the fight. I don't know if he stops him. He should stop him because he's got that kind of explosiveness. But Fortuna gives the guys problems. So, and I thought Fortuna. I know Fortuna had gone up to 140. He's too small for 140. 135 is a good division for him. I think he'll stand up and give a good account for himself. But ultimately, Ryan Garcia is too young and too explosive, and Garcia will win. The only question is, does he stop him?
I agree with that assessment, absolutely. With Fortuna being the mandatory to Haney, are we assuming the winner of this fight is actually going to fight Devin Haney?
No, I don't assume anything. I mean, you would think so, but I don't know. Like,
do you want that fight next?
Yeah, I absolutely want that fight next. If Hector Tanahara can't get that fight, then yeah, I want that fight.
That is absolutely true. Gary, any final thoughts before we head out of here, man?
No, it was a good show today. Lots of good news. Again, guys, please subscribe to my new channel. It's completely dedicated to boxing, Texas boxing scene. It's good. It's a good cause. Every penny, every dime we make from that channel is going to go to the Autism Community in Action, TACA, TACA. Matt put the link up. The link is
it's on our community page. So go to our YouTube page in the community tab. The link is right there.
So you guys can share that, and please like and subscribe. Try to help me get to 1,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. It is March. No, it's not. It's April 15th. Ivan Calderon is still not in the Boxing Hall of Fame. That needs to change. Let's get the Iron Boy in the Boxing Hall of Fame. It's tax day, but not for me. I have an extra month. You know that?
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, because of the blizzard that we had, the snowstorm, the freeze. They gave, and everyone was without power. They gave everyone an extra month, and I will wait till the final day to write a check to the federal government. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't understand. I don't remember what I was doing.
You brought tax day out.
Because I just looked. It was April 15th. Texas is still not a country. That needs to change. Let's make Texas a country again. From Texas to the world, thank you and God bless.
Very quickly, I'm trying to pull it up here. Hold on. Here is the YouTube channel you guys can go subscribe to. Texas boxing scene. I just subscribed to it because Gary just made it. Didn't tell me about it till we got on the show. So go subscribe.
There's my boy Black Magic, Travell Maison.
So go subscribe, guys.
Rest in peace.
Ton of interviews already up. Highly recommend it. And also like UK Raw Boxing. Like I put most of these channels up on our featured channel section on our YouTube page. So I have to put up Texas boxing scene as well. Reminder that General Strike podcast was supposed to be tonight. It's too late. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp. That to be somewhere at 11:30. But General Cast talking all things politics, all things Amazon Union, and
they voted down the union, right?
Yeah.
I want to recount. Like, really, who votes down their own union?
They're already probably going to get the recount because it's pretty much confirmed that Amazon conducted illegal anti-union measures during the election, which, I mean,
it was
shocker.
I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was a major airline that had a union that merged with a non-union airline. And that non-union airline, that union airline was given about whether or not they would keep their union. And somehow they voted down their own union, which
the amount of anti-union like propaganda in the U.S., Gary, it's sad, man. It really is.
Because there are, I don't want to say bad unions, but there are like the teachers union, police unions.
I wouldn't say teacher unions are bad. Police unions are definitely bad. Teacher unions are not bad.
We probably disagree. But I mean, like most unions represent to me free market. So you pay someone to represent you, right? Like if I make whatever, what do you want me to make? I make widgets. I'm a widget maker. I make really good widgets. I don't negotiate my contract. That's not really what I do, right? So I pay someone a small fee. And we all pay someone a small fee to represent our interests and get us the best deal possible. To me, that represents free markets. I don't understand why. And yes, there are bad unions, but why is anti-union sentiment? Right?
Well, the anti-union sentiment comes from market.
I just explained how I perceive unions to be free market.
I understand how you perceive it, but unions are functionally anti-free market, and maybe that can be the debate.
Maybe that could be a show. Yeah,
that'd be a fun
But
one.
we ultimately agree that unions
are good. Generally speaking, right? Unions are good, but we have very different reasons as to why, and theoretical underpinnings as to why we think unions are good. But anyways, check out Texas Boxing Scene. Go subscribe. General Strike Podcast tomorrow, 9 a.m. Talking Amazon, Ecuadorian election in Peru as well. And I'm going to react to that new PragerU video on, I think is Communism Moral was the name of the video. So I thought would be react to. What else?
It's a PragerU video, you said?
Yeah.
I know the conclusion. I don't want to be a spoiler here. I can tell you what they conclude.
I know what they conclude. I love reacting to the videos because they're wild. But anyways, remember at all times, ladies and gentlemen, fuck the police and free Palestine. Have a good one. Peace.